The orphaned hatchlings were left to die until the humans adopted an entire brood commander. Zexhai of the Veltaran Empire stared at the biological scanner readings with cold satisfaction. The primitive planet below showed no signs of the Kethmori infestation that had plagued this sector for cycles. The orbital bombardment had been thorough, efficient, and final. "Sir," his aide reported, mandibles clicking with uncertainty. "There's something unusual in the northern continent's mountainous region." Zexhai's 4 eyes swiveled toward the display. Heat signatures dotted a series of caves, small, rapidly cooling, but unmistakably alive. His translator analyzed the patterns. Kethmori hatchlings, no more than a few rotations old. "Survivors," he hissed. "How many?" "Approximately 47, sir. They appear to be unattended." The commander's scaled shoulders rippled in what passed for a shrug among his kind. The Kethmori were a plague species, highly intelligent, rapidly reproducing, and utterly ruthless in their expansion. Their adults were gone. These larvae would die of exposure within days. Natural selection would complete what the bombardment had started. "Mark it in the logs and move to the next system," Zexhai ordered. What he didn't know was that the human research vessel Compassion's Edge had been monitoring the attack from the system's outer asteroid belt. Dr. Sarah Chen pressed, her palms against the observation deck's viewport, her reflection ghost-like against the stars. The readings from the planet below made her stomach churn. An entire civilization, gone in minutes. "Captain Rodriguez," she called to the bridge. "We're detecting life signs in the mountain caves. Juveniles, I think." Captain Rodriguez's weathered face appeared on her comm screen. "How many?" 47. They're just children, Miguel." The captain was quiet for a long moment. Sarah knew that look. He was weighing protocols against conscience, regulations against humanity. The Kethmori were technically classified as a hostile species by the Galactic Council, but these readings showed creatures no bigger than house cats. "Can we reach them without detection?" Sarah's fingers flew over her scanner. "The Imperial fleet is already jumping to the next system. If we're quiet about it, do it." 3 hours later, Sarah found herself rappelling into a cave system that reeked of ozone and death. Her headlamp cut through the darkness, revealing clusters of small-scaled creatures huddled together for warmth. They were beautiful in a way she hadn't expected. Iridescent blue-black scales that shifted color with their breathing, large silver eyes that reflected her light like mirrors, and delicate wing membranes folded against their bodies. The largest of them, barely the size of a terrier, approached her cautiously. It chirped something in a language her translator couldn't parse. Too young, too primitive. But the meaning was clear. Hungry, cold, afraid. "It's okay," Sarah whispered, extending her hand. "I'm not going to hurt you." The creature sniffed her, gloved, then pressed its small head against her palm. The others began emerging from the shadows, drawn by curiosity and desperation. Sarah activated her comm. "Miguel, we need to take them all." "Sarah, you know the regulation. They'll die if we leave them. Look at them." She angled her camera toward the creatures now clustering around her feet, some brave enough to climb onto her equipment pack. "They're babies." The silence stretched long enough that Sarah wondered if the signal had been lost. Then, "Prep the biolab." And Sarah? This conversation never happened. The next 6 months transformed the Compassion's Edge into something unprecedented. In human space, a nursery ship. The crew, initially nervous about harboring what the Galactic Council considered dangerous aliens, quickly fell under the spell of the small creatures they dubbed Drakes. Chief Engineer Martinez became their favorite climbing structure, his tool belt providing endless fascination. Communications Officer Kim discovered they were natural linguists, picking up human words with startling speed. Dr. Patel in medical found their healing rate remarkable, cuts and bruises disappearing within hours. But it was Sarah who noticed their true intelligence. The Drakes weren't just learning words, they were learning concepts. They understood cause and effect, displayed problem-solving abilities that rivaled human children, and showed complex emotional responses. When one of their number fell ill with a respiratory infection, the others brought it food and stayed close, their scales shifting to calming blues and greens. They have culture, Sarah reported to Captain Rodriguez during their weekly meeting. Look at this. She showed him video of the drakes arranged in a circle, the eldest, a female they'd named Nova, making intricate patterns in the air with her claws while the others watched intently. Their scales rippled in synchronized waves of color. They're telling stories, Rodriguez realized, about their homeworld, about their families, about the day the sky burned. Sarah's voice caught. They remember, Miguel. They remember everything. As the drakes grew larger and more sophisticated, the crew faced an impossible decision. They couldn't hide them forever, and returning them to the ruins of their homeworld wasn't an option. But taking them to human space would mean revealing their violation of Galactic Council protocols. The decision was made for them when a Veltaran patrol intercepted their ship near the Rigel system. Commander Zexhai himself came aboard, his massive frame barely fitting through the Compassion's Edge's corridors. Sarah watched from the biolab's monitoring station as he toured the ship, his four eyes taking in every detail. "You have been harboring illegal biological specimens," he declared when the tour reached the lab's sealed door. Captain Rodriguez stood his ground. "We rescued orphaned children from a dead world. You rescued Kethmori larvae, a hostile species. Look at them," Rodriguez said quietly, activating the lab's external viewing port. The drakes were playing a game Sarah had taught them, something like three-dimensional chess mixed with tag. Nova, now the size of a golden retriever, spotted the visitors and approached the transparent barrier. Her scales shifted to curious yellows and whites as she tilted her head, studying Zexhai with obvious intelligence. She chirped something in perfect Veltaran. "Why did you kill my family?" Zexhai's mandibles froze mid-click. His aide stepped back involuntarily. Nova continued, her voice carrying the clarity of childhood and the weight of loss. "The burning ships came when I was sleeping. When I woke up, everyone was gone. Only the cold remained." They can speak?" Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding. "They're not a plague species, Commander. They're people. They're children who lost everything, and we gave them a home." For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the ship's life support systems. Then Nova did something that changed the course of galactic history. She pressed her small claw against the barrier and began to sing. It was a song of mourning, but also of hope. The other drakes joined in, their scales shifting in patterns that painted emotion in living color. It was beautiful and heartbreaking and utterly, unmistakably sapient. When the song ended, Zexhai was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "The Galactic Council will need to reassess its classification of the Kethmori species." 3 years later, the first Kethmori human cultural exchange began. Nova, now serving as an ambassador between species, often told the story of the humans who saw children where others saw monsters, who chose compassion where others chose fear. And in the depths of space, a small research vessel continued its mission, not just to study the stars, but to nurture the hope that among all the vast darkness, there might always be someone willing to extend a hand to those left behind.